I'm just going to take a break from the regular halachot, and we're going to mention halakha that I was asked. Somebody asked me, when exactly do we accept upon ourselves Shabbat on Friday nights, and what happens with the women that are home if we're coming to the earlier minyan or the second minyan? So the halakha states as follows. To do with us, we know that for us, Shabbat is only taken in when we say, according to Maram, Mizmor Shilim HaShabbat, or according to the Ashkenazim, Barechu, which means that beforehand, it's still not Shabbat, even though you came and you said everything else. We do know that according to the Rizal HaKadosh, could be boi kala, which is going to be a few seconds before Mizmor Shilim HaShabbat. But until then, it's not Shabbat. So for example, even if we are going to do Shabbat early, which means Mincha, let's say, will be at around 6:45 this week, so still, or 6:40, still at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that you have the entire time of Mincha and all of Kabbalat Shabbat and the speech, if I'm speaking beforehand, by the time you come down to it, you will only be obligated to keep Shabbat, which means you accept upon yourself Shabbat, let's say at around 7:05 or 7:10, right? Which means, why? Because that's the time that now you're going to say Mizmor Shilim HaShabbat, and now it is Shabbat for you. Now what happens to do with the women? So now, to do with the women, it's actually brought down that it all depends on why are you doing early Shabbat. If you're doing early Shabbat because you think that this is the way that the halakha is supposed to be, so then yeah, it could be a very big problem, because then it could be that your wife is going to be taken after you, which means that since you accepted upon yourself Shabbat, now she's obligated to take upon herself the Shabbat. However, though, the majority of the times it's not like that. The majority of the times it's just for logistics, which means that you just want convenience. You just want an early Shabbat, you get home. So in such a case, we said that she is not incumbent, she is not dependent upon you, which means you could come and accept upon yourself at 7:10, and she could accept upon herself a Shabbat at 7:30 or 7:35, whatever time is halakat nerot, like normal. And it's not dependent upon one another. We did mention that it is better that if you do come home, that they would have already accepted upon themselves Shabbat. But it's not kavod that you come home and they're still being Michalel Shabbat in front of you, that they're coming and doing different melachot. However, though, mitzad halakha, she's not dependent upon you, and therefore you could come to the early Peleg HaMincha, right? This is the minyan of Plag HaMincha, and then afterwards you just continue, right? And you won't have any problem whatsoever. She accepts upon herself Shabbat at a later time.